don't panic. I drove myself into panic, and when you panic, you don't see the opportunities you got behind them doors. Like I said, there were two options for me, work or university, when I shouldn't have looked at it that way. I needed to open them hundreds of doors in front of me. College, apprenticeships, all them doors that come open, go, at different parts of your life, open them, give them a go. Just say, right, this is what I want to give a go. I'm going to give it a go because I'm young, because that was another thing that came into my head. It was like, right, the school's done now, I need to work and earn money. Life's not like that anymore.
Welcome back to the Believe In Yourself podcast. Today's guest is a 25-year-old HILTA Primary School Teacher from Rhondda, South Wales. He is the host of BH Podcasts, which aims to share incredible stories by chatting about general life, helping others, sharing experiences and fixing problems. His energy and enthusiasm to provide people with a platform to openly share their personal stories is admirable. Not only has it allowed many people to come forward and share their experiences, but it has connected and brought his community closer together whilst making a massive impact. Please welcome to the Believe In Yourself podcast, Brad Hughes.
How are you, Luke? Okay?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. How's things with you?
All good, mate. Kind of keeping routine as best you can with this tough time going on. Like we spoke about in the past, some days I've fallen off track a little bit and on my rest days and you feel like you're not being productive. But all in all, mate, it's good. I'm keeping active, up early, trying to keep in routine as best I can and enjoying every day. Just fitting in as much as I can, mate, to be honest.
Sounds great. And talk a little bit there about routine and how was it your first couple of days or first couple of weeks adapting to that routine?
It was a big shock to me because I am someone who follows quite a lot of structure. My day considers a waking up, shower, breakfast, work, open university work, after work. And then I like to work out in the nights and exercise for my triathlon training. So to be honest, man, my days in normal life, going through this now, they're pretty structured, and I don't sit down until 9 p.m. in the evening. So it was a big shock to me to adapt to it, not going to work. I had to adapt my structure very quickly because I knew if I didn't, it'd get me down. Because like I said, I like structure. But I found it fine. I've enjoyed every day. I haven't really been panicked about this, pandemic. I try and stay away from a television. Try and stay away from, news feeds that are fooling it. And I get on with my own stuff. It hasn't really, only thing has stopped me doing but is swimming. I haven't been able to go to the pool, but running, biking, Open University, I've finished my first year of that now. And like I said, I've been doing online activities for children at the school I work in. And yeah, just keeping busy that way, mate.
And talking about, the first couple of weeks having to change your routine to perhaps adapt things that you wouldn't maybe used to doing so much, or having to change your what your everyday normal look like. What was the first thing you had to change when you first started out about changing your routine?
I think I had to learn to relax a bit more. I find that really difficult to switch off. We'll probably talk about this later, or, I have to tell myself that, right, not every day is going to be as structured as it used to be. Things are going to be different. You're seeing your parents a lot more. I'm seeing my pain of my brother a lot more, who's younger than me. And, you just got to learn. I think I had to learn to relax. I had to learn, like last week, I had a day where it was my rest day. And, I'd been for a walk, I'd read a book. But we spoke about it and I said, do you know what? I felt like I've done nothing today. And I think it's important now during this time, and I learned to, people have told me before, you need to switch off a bit better. It's easier said than done. That's the type of person I am. But yeah, I think the hardest thing through all this was relaxing, and that's not through panic. It was just from being very structured into this big like dive into the pandemic. That's the thing I had to adapt to, to be honest.
And I think that's the same with me. You know, a lot of people see me work a lot of the time, and people will say, "Oh, look, you need to relax and chill out a little bit." And people sometimes don't realise that I find my work relaxing as it is by doing something, and that's what makes you feel good. And as long as something makes you feel good, then that's important that you fill your day with those things that are positive. And coming back to yourself as a child then, talking about, you know, did you have to have a lot of structure in your life as a child then? Is that where perhaps that came from?
My mum was on about this the other day. It was quite funny. I've always been 100%. If I'm going to do something, it's 100%. We go back to talking about cars, and my brother will come into this. I'd always, if I was going to line cars up, they'd have to be in a straight line. It sounds a little bit like OCD. And if anyone come into that scene, my brother, he was the type of just crash in and knock everything over type of thing. I've always liked being on time. I can remember my dad not so much doesn't like. He's really good with time and he's on time for work and things. But when I was younger, when you had to be like going back to under 11s, under 9s, if we had to be somewhere for a football game an hour before, I'd want to be there at least 10 minutes before that. And my dad was like, "Stop panicking. You're only going to do a makeshift warm up. It's only under 11s." But I can always remember it would stress me out at a young age. I'd want to be there. I'd want to be on time. So, yeah, I've always been structured. I've always been on the go. And, yeah, that's just me, mate. I know everyone's not like me. I've learned that now. But, yeah, I like to be on time. I like to be structured. I like to know and be organised what I'm doing.
And I always remember one thing that my grandfather has always taught me when it comes down to time, and it's exactly the same as you. I've always lived by the quote, if you're 5 minutes early, you're late. And I'm exactly the same. If a meet is, for example, if we've got a rugby match on a Saturday, a meet is 1 o'clock. If I turn at 1:05, then I classify myself as being late, and I don't like that rush. And it's exactly the same as myself when it comes to my work in speaking. I always find that if I turn up late to a venue, then I'm not able to relax quick enough to go and deliver the talk, so I don't deliver my best talk. So honestly, if I'm speaking at a school, I like to be there half an hour early just to make sure I've got enough time to adapt to the environment, to feel comfortable, to work out my surroundings. So I can completely relate to having that structure and always being on time and being there before to allow yourself to prepare. But you know, when it comes to structure, obviously a lot of young people have a lot of structure in their life when it comes to school. Obviously, many students are used to having that structure of starting school at 8:30, 9 a.m. and finishing at 3 or whatever that may be. So they have that structure for 5 days a week. Is that something that helped you as a child, or was that something that perhaps you found difficult?
Are we talking like, did I enjoy school now, or just the structure within school?
We'll talk about, you know, your routine, because we talked a lot about your routine and your structure and how you was able, you know, how that's a big part of your life, and having that constant structure in school. Was that a good thing for you?
Yeah, and I enjoyed school and socialising with friends, but I always liked to know what was going on. I can always remember, I'd like, obviously, you know, the start of the school day, but I'd always like to be organised, you know, knowing what lesson was next, what time I was doing that. So I think school in that way, yeah, with structure and knowing what come next, like you knew you had maths now, you knew you had PE, you knew you were going on a school trip at this date. I think that does bring, you know, and build structure, and where you find out whether you enjoy it or not. For me, I like structure, and I think, yeah, school that way, being structured and organised and knowing what we do. To me, a day where you don't know what you're doing is a bad day for me. I don't really enjoy that. I wouldn't like going into, whether I was young, I wouldn't like going into school and, you know, right, or you can do whatever you want today. You know, the sort of toy days and things. That I enjoyed it for the first hour, but then my mind just, you know, I'm bored now. I want to do something else. And so, yeah, structure I did in school. Yeah, I think I enjoyed the structure of it, yeah.
And besides going a little bit off the structure and the routine of what school brought, you know, what was your overall experience? You talked about you enjoyed school and socialising, but was there any part of school that you found a challenge, or anything that you found that you was more able to do or be successful at, or you enjoyed more than something else?
Yeah, primary, Luke, to be honest, I really enjoyed it. And from what I can gather, teachers did like me. I wasn't naughty. I wasn't the bright spark of the class by a far stretch. But what I can remember, I always used to do that little jog up to the teacher when I'd done my work, and I was always, right, I've given 100%. It could have been wrong. It could have been 80% wrong. But the teacher would always have a smile on their face to say, oh, fair play, Brad, you've tried. And, I think that's where you learn as well, getting things wrong. But yeah, I enjoyed school. But I found maths difficult. I really did. And I think at a young age, I know it's strange to say this, but now I look back, I had quite a negative mindset on maths. I can always remember this one scare I had of it, and it was, we don't do it as much now, and I will not do it with children I teach because it's still in my head now. It was times tables, and it was the last 5 minutes of the lesson, and the teacher just had a beanbag, and I was never like mentally quick. 7 times 7, bump, I need an answer. And I can remember that day when he held a beanbag and he said, I'm going to throw this beanbag around the class and you're not leaving the class until you can give me that answer. And bump, straight away I went into panic because I knew I wasn't confident in that area, and this was just like a nightmare for me. And he started throwing the beanbag about, and I actually stayed there until I could answer the times table. I think that scarred me with maths. That's one of the biggest challenges I've had in school. I enjoyed every other lesson and I put 100% in every other lesson. But going into comp as well, I shut myself off from maths. I told myself I wasn't good at it. Even before Luke going through the door, I'd say to myself, right, this lesson's a write-off. You can't do maths. I'd be there sitting outside the door waiting for the teacher to come in, and I'd be looking at the wall. I'd go really quiet and I wouldn't even know what to say, or whether it was something new like graphs, or whether it was any type of maths. I just wouldn't think of that. I just say to myself, I'm rubbish. I was one of them that said I can't do maths, and really I shouldn't have been. Like, if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have said that. But like I said, that was one of my challenges in school, really, maths.
I think a lot of us have those challenges, not just in maths, but in many subjects, but also in many lives. A lot of us have an experience that isn't a positive experience, and then we end up telling ourselves and convinced ourselves that we can't do something. And one of my favourite quotes is, those people who say they can do something and those people who say they can't do something are both usually right. So it's how you approach something that will often determine how your results will be, or how your outlook, or how well even that something will go. And did that opportunity of telling yourself that you couldn't do something transition outside of maths into other aspects of life, or was it something that you just purely said, right, this is maths and I just can't do it?
I think so, 50-50 that answer, Luke. And the way I'm going to tell you this now is, I'd let maths get into my head, and if I went into, the only escape I had was PE. I could do PE and I'd forget about maths, and the teacher was great with me, and but I would let it eat me up inside for other things as well. I think that saying I can't do this, I can't do that, it came out a few times in different tasks in life while growing up as an excuse. And as soon as I heard maths was included, or as soon as I come up against some challenges at a young age, I'd say I can't. And other people that would tell me I can't as well, during sixth form, I'd listen. And if someone told me I could, don't be so silly, you can't do that. Why are you thinking of going into that? You can't do it. I'd listen. And I think that has stemmed from that one lesson of myself telling me I can't, with the power of other people then telling me I can't. And I used to believe, I used to believe in my head that I couldn't do a lot of things.
Especially now being a HILTA Primary School Teacher, how has those lessons transformed into your teaching? And, how careful are you with the words and what you say to young kids to make sure that they perhaps don't have an experience like you had?
That is one of the reasons why I went into the job. I didn't enjoy the work side of school. I did in some points, but I thought if I didn't enjoy school, I want to make it better for these kids. Like, I enjoyed the social side of it. I enjoyed speaking to teachers. I didn't enjoy sitting there and writing all the time and, the same old lesson, the same old topics. I wanted to change it for these children of today. I went in there and, people that know me, friends, they said, "Oh, Brad, you couldn't teach." And I thought, this is when I started to change on. I thought, well, just have a crack at it, see what comes. And my way of teaching, Luke, I try and keep it as practical as I can. On your feet, doing practical things, keeping them children engaged. In every lesson I do, if I can throw something practical in there, I know we have to write a few things down to get evidence, but there's video-based things, there's photographs you can take for evidence. So I try and cram that in. But I'm a down-to-earth type of guy as well. I don't see myself as a perfect teacher. I don't think every teacher makes mistakes. I'm one of them as well. But I go down to these children's level, and I tell them, look, sir makes mistakes. I'm human, because some children don't believe that. They don't believe teachers are human. They see you in the shop and they see you out, and they're like, we were speaking about this the other day, and they were like, "How are you here, sir? You live in school," and they go into a different zone. But I always make sure I go down to the children's level, and I share my experiences with them. I'm not scared to do that. I'm not scared to say that I wasn't the best in school. And I just go, and I like to go. I learn from others with my ways of teaching, but I also put my own stamp on it as well. And I think every teacher should have that. They should have their own stamp. This is me, and this is how I do things. But also learn from others as well. That's quite important.
I think that's some great advice, because one thing that I always saw in teachers when I was in school was I found teaching very much a comparison game, where teachers, if you saw, for example, every school and every child knows in school who are the cool teachers and who are not the cool teachers, and everyone, and what I saw in particular in my school was the people who knew that they weren't as cool as everyone else because they weren't as liked or as popular and didn't have the best relationships. They tried to copy what everyone else did to try and be that cool teacher.
That's a big, I'm glad you said that, Luke, because that's a big trap. That is what you've just said there.
Yeah.
That's a big trap to fall into. And sometimes, I've seen it myself, you can go, some people see it as a competition. I don't see it as a competition. I see it as a passion that's in me that I love doing. And you get some people, look, I've been to different schools, and they say this is the way, you're the highway, and that this is how. But I like to go to different schools, and I like to see how other people set it up. And maybe, for example, I'll take something from you. I accept that I have to change not because it's a big mistake, but it's something little I can change from someone else, and I bite into everyone else's information and take things on board from experienced teachers, and still keep my stamp, but learn from others as well.
No, definitely. And that's something that even I do in my line of work. It's the fact that one of the things that I had to realise starting out as a speaker in this industry was the fact that the magic is that there's only ever going to be one you, and there's going to be no one else like yourself. Yes, people are going to have similar stories and similar experiences and backgrounds and aims and aspirations of what they want to achieve and do and see, but there's only ever one person that is you, and that's the magic. So stop comparing yourself to everyone else when you can just be yourself. And like I said, one of the things I love doing is I love analysing people and organisations and what they do. And if I see, like I said, if I see someone doing something that I love, then I will bring that into my work, but I'll do it based upon something that's going to either add value to me or is going to make me better, and I'll do it in my own way. I won't copy things word for word or story by story. I may think, oh, that's a really good story someone's told there. How can I adapt that in my way to add an impact through what I do? And I think that's really important. But one thing I want to talk about, because we've talked about yourself as a teacher and the reasons why you wanted to become a teacher. Growing up as a young person, was there any teachers in your life that you have always looked up to or has been a role model for you? Or was that perhaps something that was lacking and the reason why you wanted to become a teacher?
Yeah, there were some really good teachers, and sadly, my primary school head teacher, Mr. Harvey, he passed away. I think it was a year or two ago, and he was one of them head teachers that always had the time to speak to people. Even now, I'd be doing my Saturday morning swim with my triathlon club, and I'd get out, and he'd look at you and say, "Oh, you've grown, Brad. Look at you now." And I never thought I'd see you like that. And I'm not the tallest, but I think he was on about my shoulders or something. He said, "Dude, you're like a powerhouse." And he'd always stop and chat, and that is what I liked. Teachers that took time to talk. In comp as well, I had one teacher, Miss Isaacs, and she was quite concerned about me during sixth form. She was like, she could see I was confused and I didn't really know where I wanted to go next. And she was like, "You'd be great at this, you'd be great at that." But I didn't really see it. I didn't really, when people, I find that hard when people tell me things. I find it hard to, soak it in. And she was like, "Where are you going, Brad? What's your next step?" Because I wasn't ready for uni at that point. Half my head had told me that I wasn't ready, but I don't think I was. I don't think I was at that point. I just wanted the next step. So yeah, Mrs. Isaacs as well sat me down, and when I first got into my LSA job, and I went back to her and I said, "Look, you told me I'd be good at this, and I'm here now." And she was like super proud. And no, there were a few teachers. I won't go on saying names and things, but I looked up to a lot of teachers just because the way they did things and the way they took time out of their day. It wasn't just come in, sit down and get on with things. Some teachers were like that. But I didn't really respect them because I was like, one, you don't know how everyone is feeling in this room. Two, I didn't see their passion for the job. It was just like, right, today we're learning this and this is how we're going to do it. And I was like, I was quite creative and I love being creative. Like, put me in an art classroom or a D&T classroom or sometimes an English classroom. When I was let to be creative with my writing and my work, I was much better. So yeah, there are teachers I look up to and I thank them. Mr. Bonnell as well, my PE teacher. He was really shocked when I got in the pool one day. I was never the fastest kid on the AstroTurf playing football. I enjoyed playing football, but I was quite old school. But when I got in the pool one day and he said, "Right, today we're going to swim a mile." And I had that puppy fact on me. But I was always confident swimming, and I got in there and I swam a mile, and he could see that I kept my focus. I didn't rush off like all the other kids did and whatever. And yeah, he just, from that day on, he just started chatting after lessons, before lessons. And yeah, I really did enjoy some of the teachers I had, and I look up to them and I thank them now for what they've done.
For me, that's such a positive and awesome memory to have, those small conversations and how they've made a difference in your life to where you are now. And one thing that I love to touch on is, you said there about the conversation you had with your sixth form teacher about that real hard conversation that sometimes a lot of kids struggle with, and that is, come on, what do you want to do in life? And we expect a lot of kids to know the answer by the ages between 16 and 18, maybe younger than that. And I think sometimes that can be a bad thing by putting so much pressure on them, saying you don't have to have everything figured out in the next couple of years. But at that point in that conversation, what did you want to do? What was your dreams growing up? What would be perhaps the career you wanted?
I don't think I had a dream, Luke, and that's the reason why I think I was so confused. I can remember I was in the sixth form one day and we were sitting there, me, my friend, and I won't mention names, but one of my friends was really academically spot on. He was fab in maths. He was in this, and he said, "I just want to go on the tracks. I just want money." And I was like, when I looked at him and I was quite shocked. I was like, "No, you can go higher than that, mate. My other friend had something planned and whatever." And I can just remember Miss Isaacs taking me in the office and saying, like, "Look, where do you want to go?" And I just had to say, I really don't know. And I can remember coming home that day, and this is a day I always like to speak about because it was a tough time, but I sat on top of the stairs and I just broke down to my mum. And I was like, everyone in school is sorted. Everyone's off to you. Because that's what it was. It was either like university or, out the door. I'm not saying the teacher said that, but that's the way I just looked at it. I thought, right, either off to uni here or there's no point. I broke down and I just said, "I'm dull. I don't know where I'm going. and I don't know what I want to do. There was a little spark in my head. I'd done a bit of work with Dad's friend as a carpenter. I really enjoy that type of work, and I just said, I'll have a go at carpentry. But I just said that out of the blue because I didn't really know where I wanted to go. And my mum was on the phone then, but she said something powerful that day that I always keep close to me is, you can do anything you want. And I was like, no, I can't, because, and I was like, how can I do what I want? Because other people are telling me I can't. And she was like, you can do whatever you want because you've got the drive and will to do it. She noticed that I was hardworking. She noticed that I put 100% in, and she said, something will fall into place, and at the right time, you will do it. So yeah, it was a dark little time where I got upset, I broke down, and I convinced myself I was dull and stupid. But like I said, it was that next stage, and right, I want to do this. And working with Cardiff in the community, football coaching and working with kids in schools, I'm so glad that came about now, because that sparked then, right, I didn't enjoy the work side of school, I enjoyed the social side. I want to change it for these kids now. And the passion just started burning in me. I want to change school, and I want to work in education. So yeah, it was a sad time, but also a learning curve, because something sparked then. And I think a lot of people don't think that. They think, oh, I'm at this dark time, I don't know what to do, and they give up on themselves. But you've got to just get through that time, and then something will spark, something you love will spark.
That's awesome, and thank you for sharing that. And I think the reason why that message is so important for people to hear is because I constantly see through my work that there are, thousands, hundreds of thousands of kids every single year who are in exactly the same position as yourself, but who don't know where to go. And so many of them, and society and parents will tell us, right, now you've got to finish sixth form or college, then you've got to go to university, got to get a degree, then you've got to go to work, and then you're going to work for the rest of your life doing the same job in one career. And I think that, we're way past that now, and you can be flexible, and it's okay not to know what you're doing at a young age, and it's okay to be patient as long as you find happiness in yourself. That's all that really should matter. But having been through what you've been through there in the story that you've shared, what would be your advice to maybe a young person listening who's in the same position as you, maybe doesn't know where to go, who's doubting themselves because of what everyone else thinks, and is thinking that, well, I don't know what I'm going to do in my life? What would your advice be to where you are now?
Two simple words that I'm going to extend on you, Luke, is don't panic. I drove myself into panic, and when you panic, you don't see the opportunities you got behind them doors. Like I said, there were two options for me, work or university, when I shouldn't have looked at it that way. I needed to open them hundreds of doors in front of me, college, apprenticeships, all them doors that come open, go, at different parts of your life, open them, give them a go. Just say, right, this is what I want to give a go. I'm going to give it a go because I'm young, because that was another thing that came into my head. It was like, right, the school's done now. I need to work and earn money. Life's not like that anymore. You come out of school and you've got to get on that next ladder, and you've got to keep progressing. And like I said, it's not school and work now. It can be for some people, and that's totally fine if they want that. But look at the opportunities we've got on this planet, and there are thousands. There are thousands of ways now to become whatever you want. There's not just one STEM to become a teacher. I found that out. I'm currently doing Open University now, and I've got a goal in my head at a time I want to be a fully qualified teacher. But like I said, open them doors. Don't be afraid. Sit down with parents as well and speak about things, because I was one just to hold it in, and I thought my problems are my problems, and I have to deal with them because I'm a man, and because that's the stigma, isn't it? But don't just sit down with someone, even if it's a friend, and just say, what do you think I'm good at? What do you see in me? And say, where do you think I could go? And that could be positive advice to you then. And listen to people, listen to their comments, and think, right, if I'm good at this, let's have a go at this. And just really, all I can say, Luke, is to young people out there now, don't go into panic drive, work hard, and just take time to figure out where you want to be. And just because your friends are somewhere at some point in their life, that doesn't mean you have to be there as well.
No, I think that's awesome. I think one of the things I love about that is like you talk about the thing that you're stubborn with your goal, but you're flexible with your journey and how you're going to get there. And a lot of people think, for example, I know this through personal experiences with friends and stuff, that some of my friends have goals, want to become teachers themselves. And, they thought, right, to become a teacher, I've got to go to university for 3 years. I've got to go into my PGC, and then I'm going to go to my practice, and I'm going to become a teacher. And that's what it's going to be. And some of my friends, they've had to go through different paths to get there. I've got one friend based up in England who didn't get on his PGCE, but then got a job working part-time in the school. They found how much of value was to school, and then the school put him through a PGC the following year. And it's like you said there, the fact that you're now going through the Open University, and there's always different routes down there. I think people just have to discover what route is best suited for them, because like for someone like yourself, at university may not be the right option to go and spend 3 years doing that course, where you can work with kids, build that practical experience, and also get the degree whilst doing what you love.
That's right. I didn't know. I never thought in a million years I'd be where I am now, Luke. If you asked me 5 years ago, I went into it on a LSA basis, and I was like, I looked at a teacher, and I'd always palm it off. I'm like, oh, I don't want the paperwork. I love working with kids like this, going home, and it's not, LSA work it's a big deal. It's a big job. The unsung heroes sometimes. But I always had people telling me them. One day, a mate of mine in school, a really good friend, said, "Here you go. I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "You're gonna take this lesson today." I said, "No way. Why? I can't do that. I can't do that." She said, "You can." She said, I've been watching you while I'm teaching. Like, I was sitting with a group of children. She said, "I've been watching you." She said, You've been watching what I do out the front. You've been taking it all in." And she said, "Here's the next step for you now. You're not going to be an LSA forever. You're going to step it up now." And I was like, I can't be a teacher. I can't be a teacher. She said, "You're doing it now. The next 60 minutes, you're going to be at the front of that class. I'm going to be sitting where you normally sit and wandering around the class, and you're going to do it." And from that day on, I got a lot of time for this lady. She's a good friend of mine, and she took me under her wing. She showed me the different routes, the different paths, and many teachers have, many friends in school have as well. And from that day on, when I stood up there and I proved to myself I could do it, I was like, wow, because I went home that day and I thought, you've just stood in front of a class now, you've kept it under control, which you don't always every day. I'll admit that, so every day is different. But yeah, I stood up there and I taught the class for 60 minutes, and that was bang. I'm on the next ladder now, wait to progress.
So talk me through that experience then, the thoughts that's going through your mind, because how I see that story is a bit of a kind of full circle, where if you look at yourself, that you first started in this episode of the podcast, we're talking about where your teacher put you on the spot and gave you that beanbag and said, right, you're not doing this until you're not leaving the classroom until you do your times table. Where now this teacher, as a lot of years down the line, have now said to you, right, Brad, I'm dropping this beanbag in your hands, and you're going to come and speak in front of this class for 60 minutes. What was the difference between that experience and getting up and teaching than the beanbag as a kid?
It was something I wanted to do. It was something I dream about, laying in bed in the night. Although I never tell anyone that I wanted to be at the front of that class, I knew inside I wanted to. And I looked at these teachers and I was like, one day, Brad, what? And I'd always say, some people would say, "Oh, Brad, you'd be a fab teacher, you were brilliant with the kids today." And I was like, no, I don't want that. I want to be an LSA. That's all I want. And that day she put the plan in front of me, or she said, right, this is the lesson and you're doing it. I just took it. And I was nervous. But as soon as I was up there, and as soon as I was in the rhythm and I took that risk, I think taking risks is one big thing I've done in life. Give it a shot. What can go wrong? I was nervous, but I stood up there and it was people couldn't believe it in the staff room. And when they said, "Brad just took my English lesson and done it himself," and they were like, "See, you can do it." And I was like, and they were like, "Did you enjoy it?" But yeah, I took that. When you say someone just threw something at me like that, I know it's very similar to the beanbag moment, but it wasn't something I was scared, I was nervous, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to get out that front and just give it a go. And then it got to a point then when I was doing it once a week, and she was like, "No," and this woman, I don't want to mention her name in case she doesn't want her name on here, but I'm very close with her now, a close friend, and she'd always see when I was in my comfort zone, and she'd say, right, you can do it. Now I'm doing assemblies. I'm teaching from year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I was like, she'd always say, right, time to step up now, time to step up a gear. So yeah, it was a mad moment. It was one I was really nervous and scared to do, but one I'm so thankful for, and I really appreciate the opportunity she gave me.
That's just incredible, because how I see it is that there's always people out there there's two types of people out there. There's people who wants to see you fail, and there's people who wants to see you be successful and give you a shot. And it's those very limited few people in your life that give you that opportunity, or see that burning desire inside of you that perhaps you don't try and show, but they can see it's there because of the emotions, the way you connect and the way you act in a classroom. And it really takes that one spark to light that fire in your stomach and your belly, where you can say, you know what, forget about everyone telling me I can't do something. Forget about me believing that I can't do something. You know what, I'm going to go and do it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see how it goes. And what I love it when people can see that inside of you when you've never actually shared it themselves. They can just see it, and it takes a real skill to see that. And sometimes, like myself, I had that one person in my life, and like you've had that person in yours. And if it wasn't for that, sometimes that one person lighting that spark, giving that opportunity, you finally come out and say, you know what, yeah, this is for me. This is the next level. This is where I want to be at.
I think my grandfather as well had sadly passed away a good couple of years ago to the Alzheimer's disease, which that was tough, because 10 years of just seeing his life get ripped away from him. I call my grandfather a leader, because he was. You go down the local pub and you say Albert, his name was, and all the old men would come on to you and they say to Brad, you were grandfather. If you wanted a job, you knock on his door on a Monday morning, you'd have a job by Tuesday. But he said no one would mess with him. He was the nicest guy you could ever meet. But, you'd respect him. And he always, even when he was going through Alzheimer's, he always remembered what I was doing. And he always said, you can do this. He said, you've got it in you. You've got that bit of leadership. You've got that spark where you could be at the front of the class. But you've got authority as well. And he said, you don't want to take too much of that. You just want to learn. He loved saying, learn on the job. And that's one thing I took. He said, learn from others. And he said, that's how I did it. He said he was high up in like a factory type of thing. Like I said, well-respected man, very friendly, great work rate. And I promised him, I can remember the day, I'm not afraid to talk about it, was the day he was passing away in the hospital. And I promised him, and when I'm teaching now, it's like he's by my side. It's bonkers. It's like, I told him one day I'll be a fully qualified teacher, and one day I will. There's no rush. I'm teaching now. I'm doing what I love, and it's like he's by my side as well. So yeah, that's a big thing for me. Although my friends, my family have been brilliant with me, and I think that's a big thing as well to push you forward.
Oh, definitely. We've all got those inner circles around us that help us push us to the next level, or give us that little bit of confidence when sometimes we're lacking that little bit of self-belief. And I think that bit of advice there is something that I wish every young person could hear. The fact that, learn on the job. And it's something that I've always done. I've always said, right, Luke, say yes to every opportunity. Doesn't matter how you do it. You can always teach yourself that.
Yeah.
Put yourself through it. And also, when it comes down to trying something new, is that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Yeah. And it's just putting yourself out there and learning, like you said. And I think that's exactly what you've done in your teaching.
I think, yeah, my grandfather would say, don't worry about them. When I would worry about them, and I'd worry about what they were doing. Don't worry about them, he said. You get it. And he said, you'll get it when you're ready at your own pace. But if you take your time and you learn your job, and you keep that passion in your job, which I have got, he said, if you keep on burning, you get it, and you get it at the right time. He said, there's never a time where I can remember. He said, there's never a time to finish. You're always learning. Every day you're learning, and you pick up something new. So yeah, that was a good thing as well.
To be honest with you, I've had to learn in my life, because I've set so many goals in my life, and I believe those goals are the finish line. So I have grown up and told myself, if I hit this target, then I'm going to be happy. But I found the closer I get those targets, the bigger my goals get. And I'm never going to get that end goal. So
Yeah.
I remember that I had to change, and it sounds like you've done the same.
Exactly the same as I, Luke. I've got loads of things going on in my head. My head's crazy. With aims and goals, right? And the way my days are, the way my mind works is, it's mad. The boys will tell you I'm a bit of an header or whatever, but no, my goal now at this time is, right, qualified teacher. I am for the finish line here. I want to get into senior management then. I want to be a senior leadership teacher. Then who knows, you could one day, and you could become a head teacher, And with outside of work, I know we're talking a lot about work here. So outside of work, I've always had running events. So I started with a 5K running event. That grew to 10. That grew to half marathon. So I've done all that. But then I was like, right, I want something new. I want something new. I love watching the Ironman and triathlons, and I've watched them for many years. And one day I said, I'm going to have a go at that. And the boys in the pub said to me, are you all right, though? You can't do that. But I was like, all right, I might be the first one in to jump in here now. And I might be the first one to have a go at it. And let's see. And in my head, I said, let's see if I can do it then. And next thing you know, 7-8 months down the line, I'm standing here with one of my friends on my first triathlon in Brecon. And that was a sprint triathlon, the smallest distance one. This year, I've moved up to the Olympic distance. Obviously got called off with COVID. But I did it on my own. I did it up the back. I done a swim resistant workout. Yeah, so I done my own Olympic distance then, which is, again, it was supposed to be a mile swim. I done a resistant band. I done the bike on the watt bike up a garage I got, and I went out for a 10K run. And I was supposed to do half Ironman this year, out in France. So I've always, and the main goal for my hobby now is not just a half Ironman. I want to go full one in Tembe and, do a few Ironmans first, full, and then Tembe, Wales, Ironman. That's, so I've never really, I've stopped putting that finish line, like you said now, and I've just thought, right, how far can this go?
But also, why is it important to have those distinct goals, but not to put timings on them?
I think because you can get caught up in the rush. What I mean by that is, sometimes if I didn't run a 5K in under 25 minutes or under 26 minutes, I'd class it as I didn't do it. It'd be, and you shouldn't. I love chasing times and I love testing myself. But you get caught up in things. Just because Joe Bloggs is doing a full Ironman this year, I go back to this all the time. It doesn't mean you have to. I see lots of people now say, oh yeah, I'm going to step it up this year. And I just know, I know in my head when I'm ready for things. And I don't want to be silly about it and do one sprint triathlon and then sign myself up for an Ironman, which I know I'm going to go in with no experience. Yeah, I've got experience of a sprint triathlon, but just build yourself up. There's no, and my coaches and coaches of other people have told me this. There's no rush. People try and kick it on too fast when they're not ready. And you're like, right, just build it up nice and slow. It's not you're not testing yourself. You're testing yourself every week because the swimming drills we do are brutal. The running routes we do are brutal, And you gotta remember as well, you can have some relaxed runs. You can have some relaxed swims, and I just go, and that's the same in work as well. I got something in my head now. It tells me, right, don't panic about everyone else. Keep testing yourself, and move forward at your own pace, step by step.
Definitely. It's that staying in that own lane, isn't it? It's not trying to overtake everyone at once. It's doing your journey. And I think that's something that so many people get caught up on, is comparing themselves to other people in the lanes. It's like, for example, if you watch a racer on the running track, if you watch the best athletes, they're not focused on what people are doing left and right of them. They're just focused on their track and who's in front of them. Because, I've always found, and I've always been that kind of person. If I'm running a race in secondary school, I was always spend all of my time looking at someone else rather than focus on myself. And I'd find myself, then I'd be the one who'd slow down because I'm not focusing purely on me, because I'm too busy on what other people are doing.
That's what I did in school, I think, Luke. I was more concerned about what other people were doing around me. And I've sort of brought myself out to that path now. I don't want to be like them people around me. And that's not a nasty thing. I got some amazing people around me, but I want to be myself as well. And I want to go the route that I take myself. No one else. I just want to, however I do things, and that's not saying in a spoilt way, but I'm not the quickest runner. I know I've got to do things to adapt to running better, to make myself quicker. And that as soon as you realise to yourself that every person on this world is different, and everyone is going to be better at you at something, you know, everyone can take part in triathlons. I always say this, and you'll always have your strong point. My strong point, and I believe, and this is not me being cocky, but I feel the strongest in the water. I feel strong on the bike, but then I know I'd have to get them two good and have a strong performance in them two to really relax and enjoy my running, you know. So
Yeah.
I think triathlon is a good way to explain it. Sometimes you're good at one thing. Joe Bloggs is better in this position, but you've got your chance here. And like in life, you know, look at the things you were good at. Look at the things you can improve in, and move yourself forward. You know, just keep. It's quite a tricky one, but just keep focused on yourself. Don't be nasty to others, but you know, just go your own route.
What I've taken a lot about from this episode is your willingness to learn, and your willingness to realise, well, perhaps I'm not going to be there now. I may not be there in a couple of months' time, but I'm certainly going to learn. I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to do my bit. I'm going to keep working hard, and I'm going to get there when it's right for me. So when it comes to you taking on new challenges or learning something new, whether it be becoming a qualified teacher, your open university degree, or maybe even from your triathlon, how do you approach learning? How do you approach learning something new? What steps do you take?
It's very different now, Luke, and I'm proud to say this about myself. I don't shut myself off like I did in maths before. That's not the way to go. If I didn't shut myself off in maths like I did and tell myself I was rubbish, I'm sure I could have passed that exam. I'm sure of it, and I will one day. I will do it. But now when I'm hitting challenges, I tell myself, give it a go. You know, you don't know what's going to happen. Don't write yourself off when you haven't looked at something yet. You know, don't write yourself off. Hit the effort. With me, it's effort. 100% effort. You hit that challenge. Don't rush it. Not saying go in there 100 miles per hour. 100% effort. As long as you give it that 100% effort, that's my approach now. Give it that effort, and something good will come of it. Whether it's bad or good, whether it's right, whether it's I didn't really do well at that. Right. Whether it's bad, I always look now, okay, but that worked well. Right. To make that better, I need to change it. Every challenge and I'm not scared anymore. I'm not scared if someone tells me I can't do it. I'm not like that no more. I go at it, and I think, right, no, like with a podcast now, that was an idea in my head just for a hobby, and it was in there for months, and I was saying, oh, don't do it. And now, no, Brad, you're laying in bed, you're thinking about it. If it's something you want to do, give it a crack. And look how it's turned out now. I met you, and you know, I've done podcasts with other people. Every challenge now, I look a lot different, and I see it. Sometimes I laugh in challenges now. Where it used to be, I haven't got much hair at the moment, but I used to be, honestly, Luke, it used to be a dark time. I used to literally, grab my hair and think, oh, put my head in my hands and, punch myself in the face, man. Stupid things, because I wasn't, someone was in front of me. You just got to hit that challenge how you would, and I know I'm relating to it. Just, you've got to give that challenge a chance. Give a challenge a chance. That's what I try and say now.
And talking about the podcast, how's it going? How can people find you, get involved with it? What you've learned from it?
Well, as you know, I'm set up now as BH Podcast, just on Instagram platform. It's been brilliant, Luke. I've always enjoyed helping people like yourself, and I used to have a negative mindset going back a couple of years ago, and I just want to share with people my journey and how I've got a positive mindset now, and how I look at things different. And the people that have come forward have been amazing. We've talked about obesity so far. I've got someone coming in to talk about PTSD. I've had people come in from a fitness background, Crohn's and other diseases background. So yeah, it's going quite well, and I'm enjoying it as a hobby. I'm not letting it take over you know, like I spoke to you the other day, you've got to be careful. If it's a hobby, don't let it take over your whole life. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, and you know, it's going well at the moment.
And if any of you listeners want to listen to Brad's podcast, which I thoroughly suggest you do, then I'll make sure I'll include all the links down in the show notes. So you can find your Instagram, and where can they find the podcast itself?
Podcasts are on Anchor, but they're on
Anchor.
Spotify as well, under BH Podcast, and then obviously the menu will come up, and you can have a listen and have a look at some of the topics.
Perfect. I'll make sure I include your links to Anchor and Spotify down below. But before I bring this another incredible episode to a close, I just want to take a moment to personally acknowledge you, Brad. I think, you know, what you've shared today is something that I only wish more people would be willing to come forward and share too, because I think there are so many people out there who have felt and been in the same situations as yourselves. Just some people decide to hide it because they think that's a weakness, when in reality it's a strength to be able to share that, because I think we've all been in that point of life where we don't know where we're going or what we're doing, and the more people we can have talking about it and normalising those feelings, the better off we're going to be, but also the closer we are. And I think to have gone through the stories that you have and the experiences, and to be where you are, and to hear the difference and the changes that you've made in your life to be where you are now, and your aspirations and dreams of not just in work of becoming a teacher, senior leader, maybe a head teacher at one point, but also in your personal life, when your triathlons and other challenges. I think it's incredibly admirable, and I really do thank you for your time today, and I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Awesome. Thank you for having me on, Luke. Obviously, your platform as well is brilliant, and I recommend everyone to listen. I've listened to 2 this morning of your podcasts. So yeah, brilliant, mate. I think we both got great setups. You know, we both want to help people, and you know, I've enjoyed it today. I really have, just to open up and let people know what's inside.
But before we bring this episode to a close, I always finish off every episode with something I call the Final 5, which is 5 quick-fire, rapid questions. And if you can answer with one sentence or less, if that's even possible, that'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, we'll get straight into them. So straight in the deep end. Question number 1. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my family and friends, mostly, that I have now. And I say that because there have been some people that tried to shut me off. Family, friends, and the experiences I've had, bad or good.
And number 2, what's your favourite quote?
I've got one on my wall here that I'd like to read out, because I had this off my 5-6 class back in 2016. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. And can I share another one as well? Because there's another one I owe.
Please do.
Be hungry, remember to be humble, and always be the hardest worker in the room. Goes something like that. But yeah, that's another one I follow.
Great. No, two great ones that everyone can implement in their lives right there. Question number 3. If you could share one message with your younger self that you know now, what would that one message be?
Don't listen to others. And that doesn't mean in a way where you're doing something bad. Don't let other people's opinions make the path for you. If you want to do something, give it a go. And just because someone tells you can't, don't listen. Don't let it brainwash you.
And question number 4. What's one thing that you would like to say to everyone who's ever doubted you? But on the reverse of that, what's one thing that you would like to say to everyone that's believed in you and that's given you the opportunities to be where you are now?
I don't, and there's been times where I've been wound up about the people who have tried to shut me down, Luke. And I've recognised that that's not a good place. If you let them wind you up and you want to bite back at them, they've got you where they want you. So I wouldn't like to say anything back to them people that have tried to shut me down. I just like them to have a little look, or you know, see where I am now. I don't want to acknowledge them, and you know, not being nasty, but just have a little look, you know, and you know, just see where I am now. There's been lots of people, and some really important people, that have helped me to where I am today. And if I could win the lottery for them people, I'd give them a good whack of the money, because without them people, I don't think I'd be where I am today. I'd be I couldn't tell you where I'd be. I don't think I'd be in a dark, deep place, but I wouldn't be standing in the front of a class and teaching. But so thank you to all them guys and people that helped me where I am today.
Perfect. And finally, question number 5, one of my favourite questions, and that question is, what does believing in yourself mean to you?
I was looking forward to this one because I think it's just that dig deep of finding courage inside you. Finding courage to take our step into the unknown, open that door and see what's behind. I think you've got to believe in yourself because no one else will. Some people will, but they won't believe in yourself as much as you can believe in yourself. So yeah, find that courage, dig deep and take that big or little step forward to make any improvement in your life.
Thank you for listening to another incredible episode of the Believe in Yourself podcast. Please do make sure you leave a like, you subscribe down below, and check out our most recent episode right by here. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below of what was your biggest takeaway from this incredible podcast.